Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am Brother Kelly Hughes, Chaplain of the Arts. We are broadcasting from the Valiant Theatre here right around the corner from Old Market Square where all the Fringe stuff is going to be happening. We are off to the side here in the heart of Winnipeg's greasy Tenderloin District, and we've got a great show for you right now. It is Kelly Hughes Live Shorts, and it's Fringe. And Fringe is, I don't know when you're watching this, but in our timeline, Fringe is about to happen in a couple hours. My guests are Andrew Bailey.
Hello.
Keith Serry. And it's right here, Tor Lukasik-Foss.
Hello.
How are y'all doing?
Great.
Awesome.
Great. So we've got big dad energy. We've already had some dad jokes. I mean, we're just a walking cliche over here.
Pretty much. And I actually am a dad. So,
yeah. Do you feel like, is this what the world needs? Is just more old white men?
I think that's what Fringe was missing. Was it didn't have enough middle-aged white men with angst. I think not enough of that in the Fringe these days.
We have to do something. we can't all be in the guitar stores, right?
or smoking meat.
They've got some great shows coming up. Brain Machine, Andrew Bailey, and that is Rachel Brown, which is a nice theater, usually just up the stairs from the Samosas. You open on Friday. And then, Keith Serry is doing what? Are you doing again?
The List, a dramedy about probiotic masculinity at Son of Warehouse, which opens on Thursday.
Okay, it's called The List?
It's called The List, yeah.
Nice. Okay, that's nice and simple. And Tor is doing New Wave Your Behavior. And there's a picture of him, and he's going like this. It's not the Roman salute.
But it is oh my God. The Elon Musk
It's
echo.
not even
Good Lord.
Whoa.
You're much closer.
I'm dead.
You're much closer.
I'm
looking
dead
like
before I
Fringe than
started.
anything else.
It's very welcoming. Yours, not Elon's. Elon's was not welcoming.
You haven't been here in a while.
It's been 7 years, yeah.
Yeah. And the time just slipped through your fingers like sand. Right?
It really did. Like I feel like it's been almost no time, but since the last Fringe, I did a 2-year degree. I lost 2 close relatives, my dad and my grandma. I gained 2 close relatives, a son and a daughter, and I moved cities. So I've had a good. And the COVID happened, but we're not going to mention that.
Yeah.
We're not going to mention
Nobody
that.
likes talking about the
We're
COVID.
trying to not be dads with the definite article in front of the COVID. That's definitely bringing up the dad energy.
That was unintentional, but I talked about my children, and then the dad energy just naturally came forth.
Yeah. Where did you move to and from?
I moved. It wasn't too bad. It was from Vancouver to Victoria, but It was kind of bad because we had a 1-year-old. My wife was pregnant. We were both working full time. We were in the middle of COVID, and there was a major heat wave all at the same time. So it was. The prices totally skyrocketed about like 500%, or not 500%, like 100%.
Well,
doubled.
I think we can all agree it's not a reasonable place to live.
The West Coast?
Yeah.
No, it's far too nice, and
Yeah.
that's the problem. The secret got out.
Oh, okay.
And way too many people live there now.
So it attracts layabouts.
Well, Victoria attracted a lot of Vancouverites who
Yeah.
did the exact same thing that we did. We're like,
Yeah.
Vancouver, too expensive. Let's all go to Victoria.
Yeah.
And then now Victoria is also too expensive, thanks to us.
So you ruined it for everyone.
We sure did. That was our goal.
Close the door behind you.
Keith, what was the last thing that you ruined for everyone?
Oh my goodness. Dinner, probably. More than likely dinner. Yeah.
Did you cook it, or you were just in a restaurant and you made a big scene?
Actually, probably what came to mind was cooking dinner. I'm actually a relatively good cook, but there have been a little bit of sort of salt for sugar kind of transcriptions at one point or another. So that's the first thing that jumped to mind.
I got a new air fryer yesterday.
New one.
Well, not new. I mean, I have never. It was a used one.
New to you.
I have never owned an air fryer, and I know that's a few years, behind. Mm-hmm. But my partner was like, "Hey, let's get this air fryer," and then I was sort of forced into making something.
So you chose lobster tails, or
no. I was forced into making a specific thing. I was like, "Here's the recipe. Here are these ingredients. Oh, and you're cooking it too." One of those things that kind of snowballed like that. And it was fake beef and broccoli, and it actually turned out pretty well, but it was too salty. And actually, do you own an air fryer?
I do not.
You own an air fryer, though,
I
right?
do not. No.
How about you? Come on, Tor.
There's an air fryer in our house that I've never used.
Okay. Oh, you guys are maybe George Foreman grill. Is that the? Is that how? That's what.
So is this like one of those internet quizzes where you figure out which wide range household appliance you are by asking a series of 20 questions?
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
I
like
that.
it, yeah.
I know
We
my
should-
appliance.
What is your appliance?
My appliance is a large cast iron pan.
Yeah. Well.
Oh,
sure,
yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah, and you got to
That's
like
you
gotta
gotta season it. You
Yeah.
gotta
yeah. So like if anybody
nothing breaks.
if anybody tries to wash it up after, like you snatch it out
You
of
got a
the
whole
pan.
speech when people stick it in the soapy water. It's ready. That's your moment. That's your time to shine as a cast iron pan owner.
I just think I actually realized the answer to Kelly's question. The last time I ruined something was when I allowed my dog to break a cast iron pan, which I didn't think was possible.
That is so.
How? Did he smash it over your head? Or what?
Yeah, I wish, like throw mama from the train. That's an old school reference.
I recognize it.
Well, again,
We should-
that energy.
We should have an age warning here, like
Seriously.
40 up. Yeah.
Exactly. No, I'd left half a frittata in a cast iron pan on my counter, and the dog jumped up and knocked the pan onto the floor, and I didn't think it was possible, but
Yeah.
it landed handle side down and snapped the handle,
Wow.
which is bizarre, but it happened.
That is bizarre.
Yeah.
Do you have a cast iron pan? Square?
I've rested them by accident before
Oh,
because you're not supposed to use the soap.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to
No,
just do
no.
it without soap, and but that's about all. I mostly just try to use the least complicated kitchen appliances and pans possible.
George Foreman grill.
Not George Foreman grill, just a lot of stainless steel.
Yeah.
Just a fan of stainless steel.
Yeah.
I think it was a good invention. I'm going to stick with it.
I'm a big fan. We like that technology. Keith, how often do you get to Winnipeg?
Not as often as I'd like. This is actually the first time I've been here in nearly 20 years. I came
Oh,
for
wow.
my dear friend's wedding with whom I'm staying right
Yeah.
now, and that was 19 years ago, I think.
So are you a regular Fringe circuit person? or-
This is my second ever Fringe, so I
Okay.
guess that makes me a relative newbie.
Yeah.
I debuted this show in Montreal last year,
Okay.
and I'm doing Winnipeg and Edmonton this summer.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Yeah,
Where are you from?
I'm from Montreal.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
originally from
so-
the West Coast, originally from BC, but I've been in Central Canada now since the Paleozoic era.
Yeah. How are the prices in Montreal?
Of homes or cast iron pans?
Homes.
I think the cast iron pans are pretty standard.
Yeah.
The homes are, I think, relative to the West Coast, affordable. Relative to Winnipeg, not.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
on the high end of things, but not
Yeah.
as insane as on the West Coast.
But then you get a different kind of a thing. You get the people walking around urinating on the street and
I mean, no one's ever caught me. I hear that happens.
Tor, where are you from?
Hamilton, Ontario.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Hamilton.
outside of Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Hamilton.
Good. I'm glad.
Home of the Rough Riders, right? Yeah.
and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, an NBA
It's true.
finalist and regular season
Oh.
MVP.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple of SCTV members and Kells and a lot of punk rock bands.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good city. It's scrappy. It's Winnipeg to me. I enjoy Winnipeg a lot because it has a energy I recognize from Hamilton.
How often do you get out to Fringe?
I'm
Winnipeg.
Well, I was here last year with the same show,
Yeah.
so I'm here to squeeze out more life out of my show. But this show has been kind of the first piece of theater I've ever traveled with. So I've done stuff in Hamilton, but I've never taken a show out until this one. So yeah, I'll be in Edmonton too.
Cool, great.
And did Victoria last year.
So was the show good last year and people liked it, or it was lousy and you're bringing it back better?
No, I think it was good last year. Not to be arrogant about it. I think it was good.
Arrogant away.
I was in the peach of a theater here in Winnipeg. I was in the Manitoba Theatre Center's main venue. It was huge.
Cool.
It was also terrifying because I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
I was hoping to get like 24 people to the first show,
Yeah.
and then I'm in this
It's
400 seat
Yeah.
theater.
Yeah.
It's not the one you want when you've never been here, and you're by yourself.
The stage was the size of the venue I was looking for, so it was
Right, of
that.
course.
So, and then I had to teach myself how to do like kind of Fringe 101 things like flyer, which didn't come easy to me because I have a bit of social nervousness around that stuff. And so last year Winnipeg was me learning kind of like a crash course on how to do it. and it was good because I got good reviews. I had my audience by the end of the run, and then people said bring it back. I got encouragement to bring it back because hopefully there's more audience.
My friends with whom I'm staying here have been coming to the Winnipeg Fringe for 35 years. She's seen like 1,000 shows in her lifetime. And when we were talking about this year's run, one of the shows that came up as a recommendation for her was your show. So he's not making it up when he says it was good. He was. I mean,
I wasn't going to push him. I wasn't going to push him too hard on it. This was a friendly. I'm not.
For anyone who's listening out there, anyone who's listening out there,
Prove that it's good.
That's right. Some third-party person that no one who's listening to this has ever heard of said it's good. It's not just Tor saying.
Who are you staying with?
My friend Iris.
Iris. I just thought maybe I'd know them because I know some of the super.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I know some of the super fans. That's one of the great things that really makes Winnipeg Fringe tick are the people that take their 2 weeks off and they've got their Excel sheet and they're like,
She's one of those.
I'm going to go and do all these.
And it was a super fan last year. So when I was getting ready to fly her for the first time in my life, show, I see this big lineup. I go there. I have a full out kind of panic attack. I have to sit down on a planter, and I wish I got her name, but this clear super fan came up. She got all the buttons, and she looks at me and she goes, "You're having a panic attack, aren't you? Because you're afraid to fly her." And I'm saying, and I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Shouldn't be afraid in Winnipeg. We're so friendly here." And then she said, "Come with me." And she takes me around the corner. You're making me more anxious. Yeah. She takes me around the corner and she goes, "We're going to do a little role playing right now. I want you to pitch your show." And so I had this moment where she taught me how to fly her,
That's lovely.
And she's like, "Don't be disingenuous, you just want to get to know the people in line. And once they know you, they'll come to your show." And it was pretty much true. Like, I found Winnipeg quite amazingly
that's
like
awesome.
friendly and
funny.
affable. And so,
that's lovely.
A special moment.
I'm going to take a moment here. If you have been watching this on Facebook or God help you, TikTok or Instagram, this video is over. Please go over to our YouTube page at the Valiant Theater 1761. Very catchy, I know. And check out the rest of the interview and all the other interviews that we have done and have been doing. Thanks very much. Okay, our artificial pause is over. We are back. For the folks that are either watching on YouTube or listening on UMFM 101.5, thanks so much for stopping by. We appreciate it. We're here talking to Andrew Bailey, talking to Keith Serry, talking to Tor.
Lukasik-Foss.
I don't like Tor, so
you can also just say Tor because I think I might be the only one.
How come you seem like a real guy from Hamilton? How come you have such an exotic name?
For a couple of reasons. So the Foss part of my name is from my Norwegian dad who worked his way over on a boat in the 50s and came to Hamilton and kind of never left. So he also gave me the name Tor. So it's sturdy. There's a sturdy Norwegian name there. Yeah. And then I got married pretty young, and at a point in the late 90s when it was really cool to hyphenate your name.
You don't have to apologize.
I married, because anyway. So I married the love of my life, Lenora Lukasik, and then
what kind of name is that?
Took her Polish name.
Oh, Polish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, big Polish community in Hamilton.
I was saying before you got here that Tor Lukasik-Foss sounds like an NHL player, or at the very least like a prospect.
Oh yeah.
Maybe AHL.
A big
guy. He's not quite sure how to use his size yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a draft rating.
Yeah. But he's not as fast as he could be, but he's got soft hands.
Yeah, four-star recruit. He's a 4-star.
All those qualities ring true, I think.
That feels like me, he says. Yeah.
I guess we should talk about these shows because this is ostensibly about Fringe. Brain Machine.
You can keep talking about sports if you want.
Yeah. Well,
it is the dad hour.
The whole thing. Here's the whole thing. The whole thing is the reason why I've wanted to do this, and I do this every year, usually on the radio, but now on also on YouTube and the socials, is because I feel like if you get a review from a cranky reviewer who's seen 7 shows in a day, it's, is it useful? It's useful if they give you 5 stars, right? But I mean, for the people out there, I like people to see who the people are, and then they go, hey, I really like that Keith. I really like, that his dog takes advantage of him. I'm gonna go see his show. Yeah, I didn't mean sexually. Sorry if that. You did have that face, like the brain.
Yeah.
We'll just move on from that.
That's right.
Brain.
People just tuning in. Yeah.
What's the awkward segue portion?
I'm not sure if we're segueing. It's just more awkward. Anyway, Andrew, what's Brain Machine about?
So Brain Machine interweaves the story of the web's creation with my own experience going viral online. That is it in a sentence, in a word. It is about connection. In a word and another word and an and. It is about connection and universalism. So in about 2014, I went viral. I think I had like 3 million views or something like that.
You got kicked in the nuts.
I got kicked in the nuts. No, it's this show, like, it tells a story of like when I was a kid, like many kids as a teenager, I was like awkward and alone. And I saw this show called Tinka's New Dress, which is, I'm not sure if people know Ronnie Burkett.
Yeah, Dirty Puppets.
Oh yeah, Dirty Puppets. And I really connected with that show as a like 17-year-old. And I maybe just really want to create something that would give, like, because it made me feel less alone. I wanted to create something that would make people feel less alone. So the story about me is about me creating something that really does make people feel less alone. I make this this monologue. It really connects with people. But I'm not sure if anyone here has been viral before. It is a lot. So it really connected with people. I really did that. And then they were all like, a lot of people were coming at me with like their stories, their personal stories. And at the time that was happening, I was also in the middle of a 12-hour orientation shift for mental health support work. So I had like the real human beings that needed my support. And I was getting paid to give them my support. And at the same time, I was going viral. So I interweave that story with the very beautiful story of why the web, the brain, when I say brain machine, it's the internet plus the web, the phones we have in our pocket. They're meant to be a machine that emulates the way we think, with like association, rather than a linear thing like a book or a physical machine like a steam shovel. It's something that's meant to emulate the way we think and expand our thought. And there's 3 people that I follow, and all of them had these beautiful ideas for what they were trying to do. The person that invented the web gave it to the world for free. And then Elon Musk happened.
Thanks for coming, everybody. So, I mean, how do you feel about how everything has gone?
With the web or with my show?
No, not your show. I mean, your show's great. Everybody loves it. With the web and with, I was thinking about this today about how, one of the reasons why I run TikTok down is because I post this everywhere, right? And every time I open up TikTok, until like the last couple of days, every time I open up TikTok, it shows me these AI videos that are super demeaning to Punjabi people, and how they're ruining Canada, and there's Tim Hortons stuff, and there's like they're making coffee in the toilet. There's this whole weird shit, and I'm just like, I've reported it, and then they say no, it fits the community guidelines, and then I block it, and then the next day it shows me a different account with similar kind of stuff. Finally, I got it out of the system, and now it just shows me like, Punjabi singing "Oh Canada," which is fine, but I'm like, maybe I could just have some different stuff that's not Punjabi related, because it's not like my main interest. But I just feel like you said, the guy who invented the internet gave it to the world, and in this and that still lives like in. I like Wikipedia, and I like the way that
I mentioned it in my show.
I like the way that Wikipedia works, and that whole kind of community sort of thing. But the people that we've got, because we all use the internet, and some of us are sort of addicted to it. But like as a neurodivergent person, like I find the internet and social media and all that stuff like very, very good for me in a lot of ways. It would have been very beneficial to me if I'd had that when I was younger. I mean, when I was a kid, I was a weirdo that was I would read the yellow pages. You know what I mean? And now I'm just on Wikipedia and bouncing around and all kinds of things. But I feel like the people that are in charge of all that are like the worst fucking people. They're like the people that you wouldn't like, Elon Musk, robot Zuckerberg,
Bezos.
Yeah,
I even to go back a generation, like Steve Jobs and like Bill. I mean, Bill Gates is a little bit like, at least he believes in something, like giving back to an extent. But like I think of like just like with storytelling, like if you often with a story, you have a goal, you want to get something, and then often you'll get that thing you want, but there's a terrible cost.
yeah,
And I think with the web, we got the thing they want. It's an amazing invention. Like it came up with this idea. The original idea was for microfilm and a desk in 1945. By 1968, we have hypertext, we have word processing, we have email, we have the mouse, we have all of these things just within like 23 years. And then by 1990, we add the web and the internet, the wide school internet on top of that. And then by like the early 2000s, we have this, it actually came to life. This ridiculous idea came to life, but then there's been this terrible cost. But another part of story is sometimes when you're in that dark place, there is a hope to get to somewhere else. And I guess where my hope is that we can get somewhere else. Because like you say with Wikipedia and with a lot of things online, there are really legitimate good things that maybe we can do together. Maybe as humans, we can use it because the web works and it works amazingly well.
And it's not the technology in and of itself. It's the fact that it connects us with each other and it connects us with ideas and with information, with other people's art. It's that actual. And now we're sitting here, right?
Yeah. Connect with community.
Yeah.
So it still has that beautiful potential. Yeah. It's just we have to overcome that sludge, that AI, and not all AI, but
it's the enshittification of everything.
Right?
So like
I love that term. I will use it from now on, except for in front of my children. I will use that.
But like Wikipedia is one of those corners that feels it's staved off a lot of that.
I mean, bless that person. And he's asking me for money, and I give him the tiny amount of money that I can afford.
Me too.
So your show is hopeful.
It's hopeful. I do not discredit the stuff you were talking about. I definitely deal with that. I am a technophobe. Like the monologue I wrote that got viral, I was living in a cabin in the woods when I wrote it. Like I am not a huge fan of modern technology. It was in the creation of the show that I really got to find there is a beauty to it too. It's both things.
There was a lag, right, when you posted to when you discovered you went viral?
Of like a day.
Yeah.
Like it was like I posted it. I had some Cheerios. I set up the JoJo, like the shift. I wouldn't have set up a shift if I knew I was going viral, but I set up this shift. And by the next day I had like 3,000 views. And then I went to the shift and it was like 100,000 people had seen it, but like within 2 or 3 days.
Right.
And I was the shift. Like, so I was doing mental health support work. So I had a 12-hour shift, like a Joe job. And it was like 2 or 3 days. It was on the front page of Reddit. And I was not prepared at all.
It's funny, Kelly, that you used the word hopeful because when he was describing the show, I'm like, wow, that sounds, because it's very easy right now to be just in the shit. Like constantly, I know that I've cut back my diet, being informed just to stay sane. And so it's nice to, and I think a lot of people who do what we do are going to come up with a similar conclusion that so much of this is about community. It's about, telling stories to reach people and find a shared humanity. And it's nice to know when you're maybe in the heart of darkness of that, like talking about technology and the internet, which I think is a source of so much of the reason why we need art, why we need community and theater and human interaction. So that sounds pretty cool.
And ways for bodies to be in rooms together. Like
sharing
breath is like so
physical space.
And the theatrical connection. I felt the connection with the show, like with Ronnie Burkett itself, but also with the audience. The fact that they were laughing at the same things I was laughing at. It was this incredibly powerful experience.
Cool.
And I have a friend who's just sort of recently went off social media, but she doesn't know what's going on. She can't, unless you're actually going everywhere. You don't know what people are doing. You don't see them. You're, you really have to be a person who's out in the world at things, doing things all the time. Because I really appreciate knowing what somebody's been doing and be able to, see what they're doing. Like I say, especially with, with being neurodivergent and with kind of dealing with mental health stuff, and sometimes it's hard to leave the house, and sometimes the FOMO keeps me going, and sometimes it makes me do something, because otherwise, like if I turn my phone off, I mean, I'm just gonna be in that couch, and I'm just gonna shrink and shrink and shrink. And
Sure. It's a double-edged sword for sure, right?
Keith, what's your show?
My show is called The List, a dramedy about probiotic masculinity.
Okay, so it's exactly what it sounds like.
I think so.
We'll move on.
Yeah, we're done. Thanks,
Explanation. Probiotic masculinity.
Everyone's heard of it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a road trip from youth to old manhood, and it's a look at what I thought a man was when I was in my 20s, and how I came to that conclusion, and how I unlearned it as a real man.
Nice.
This is interesting because this all feels like it's of a theme to me. Because I mean, when you say that, I think of the manosphere,
1,000%.
and I think of all these people who talk about what it is to be a real man,
100%.
or I watched the Liver King documentary. Has anybody seen that?
Yeah,
I've seen enough of the Liver King on social media that I don't need to know.
Well, the problem with the documentary was they really let him off the hook. But I mean, it's just so dumb. But there's all these guys that are like, yeah, that's what I want, and this is not new. In the 90s, when you were hyphenating your name, I guess it was I don't know, late 80s, early 90s. I was a church boy, and like evangelical, bonkers Christian kind of thing. And there was there were all these books like Healing the Masculine Soul, and there were like all these
Iron John.
Iron John,
but this was more like in the this was more like in the Christian. This was like the Christian version of Iron John. Yeah, Iron John was in that sort of same time too, and I remembered when I figured out. I can probably talk about my brother here because he's not ever going to listen. My brother's a televangelist.
Okay.
One of my brothers, and my other brother is good. But one of my brothers is a televangelist, and one day I just figured out like the reason that all these people want to watch him, and the reason that all these people want to go to his church and sit there and listen to him is he's projecting confidence. He's got handsome kids, a good-looking wife. He dresses nice. He's looks. He looks kind of like me, so he looks all right. Although he's older than me. He's got most of his hair still. But like that's people just like men look at that and they're like, yeah, that's what I want. Yeah. I want to be that guy. So it's no different than a Amway or Ponzi scheme or a pyramid scheme or any kind of thing where somebody can kind of set themselves up as being something to aspire to. And knowing him personally, when I figured that out, I was like, oh no, you don't want to be like him. But then what do you do if you don't want to be like that guy?
Well, come to the show and find out.
How much is your show?
I took $10, I think.
$10, that's cheap.
Yeah.
Pay your $10 and you find out what happens.
Think of all the money you're going to save.
He's not going to tell you.
The Andrew Tate workshops. You're coming to my show.
God.
So it's interesting you should say that because the show actually starts with me broken down on the side of the road between Montreal and Ottawa, late for a game that I have hockey tickets for.
Right.
And the man who picked me up and my friend Jeremy on the side of the highway was, we called him a pickup artist now. His name was Francois, and he had the secret to life.
Yeah.
And he informs us his secret to life. And I start off in this situation where you may have thought he was creepy, but I thought he was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And we go from there to where I am now, which is far from there. And we talk about how.
Now you're the creepy one.
Yeah, I'm the person trying to not be the kind of person who is creepy. Yeah.
Did he ask for your money?
No, in fact, it's funny you should ask that. The sign that I hold over my head in the show that I actually held over my head when he pulled over on the side of the highway was Montreal will pay cash. and he refused in a version of the story that I've told us, where he refuses any money from my friend Jeremy and I, and he says, "You go spend that on beer at the game," and so we did.
Wow.
I knew this guy when I went to the evangelical charismatic church. I knew this guy who used to pick up hitchhikers, and he wouldn't let them out until they'd said the sinner's prayer.
Oh my Lord!
Which
Wow.
I believe is
Kidnapping?
or
in confinement.
yes, something. Although he felt like he was doing the Lord's work.
Well, it's funny because Francois, the character in my show, kind of there's a vibe at that.
Yeah,
he's bouncing in place, and I tell the audience, I was feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Two white, able-bodied guys, we were probably safe in ways that work, but he could still involve us in a conversation that would make us wish we were dead.
What year was that?
That particular incident happened in 1996.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
So the World Cup of Hockey in 1996.
Okay.
Yeah. So we actually start off with sounds from Mike Emmerich's call of the World Cup of Hockey in 1996.
Yeah.
Don't sue me, ESPN.
Tor, what's the show?
New Wave Your Behavior. It's a mostly true story of a moment back in 2022 that I lived through. Kind of flaming out of my professional life in a really, to me, like, even at the time, I found it kind of bemusing that I was like hitting a kind of hard midlife crisis. My mom had just died. And then for some reason, I developed a kind of like really tight bond with like nostalgic music, particularly new wave music. And I was going through, very reluctantly went into counseling, and found that my obsession with new wave music and counseling were happening at the same times, and then kind of overlapping in a weird way. And I started to get really, I almost started to sort of play into just how they overlap. And
I hope that it was because Yvonne from Men Without Hats was your therapist.
I wish. I didn't. I never revealed that connection. I was afraid of my therapist for so many reasons. But, I was afraid because I was doing this kind of like, realizing that there were in my sort of, I was literally, what was happening is I was listening to a lot of new wave music in my car, and with overthinking about it way too much. And then I started to sort of define what I thought were sort of, Jung's archetypes of new waves, right? So that there were these these like seminal beings that doesn't matter what the singer or the song is, they just recur in the landscape of new wave. And so I had sort of put this family of archetypes together as I'm listening. And then what I was doing in the car really started to echo with what was happening in counseling. And so, so this all came out from that. I developed it first. I'm part of a storytelling collective in Hamilton, Ontario, called the Hamilton 7, which is a really good incubator for people who come from different creative practices, because I'm a visual artist primarily, but I do a lot of performing. Anyway, I did work this up as a little 10-minute story. I was really excited by the response to it. And I thought, I think I know how to build music into it. Because if you're talking about new wave, it seems dumb not to have music. And I just didn't want to like play like the hits of the 80s. I thought it would be really nice to write these kind of bespoke songs that talk about these archetypes specifically, but then also kind of mirror what I'm going through in counseling. So it was like, as a songwriter, it was a good challenge.
Fun.
As a sometimes anxious person, how did you feel when you first mounted this?
It's terrified. Like, I wrote it, realized I wasn't good enough to deliver it. Then I hired this amazing woman named Marlo Nunes, who I knew was a well-esteemed director in Toronto, Hamilton area. And she was the one who kind of helped really kind of do the final development of the work, because she had to teach me a ton about kind of theater and how to do it in order so I could perform the thing. So it really kind of took on that life because I was really afraid. And then when I debuted in Hamilton, like it was a week of panic because I didn't, you're talking about a form of music that's 45 years old. You know that people in your generation are going to have a nostalgic attachment to that music, but does anybody else care? And will they find an entry point in? So you're going in with all those nerves, like, it's like when when you're telling any story about yourself, it feels self-indulgent. You got all that nerves of like, is anybody going to connect with this? Like all that stuff.
Hey, the 80s became cool again. I mean, a lot of new wave artists got like Kate Bush,
Yeah.
She finally got a #1 hit or something like that.
Because of Stranger Things,
I can really identify. My pre-show announcement says includes scenes of death, sex, and out-of-date cultural references.
That's right.
We are sitting here at our men's support group.
That's right.
Talking to Andrew, Keith, Tor. Hi, my name's Kelly. I'm a middle-aged white man. Tor, you said that when you went to Flyer the first time, you sat down I sat down and wept. What's the name of the you know what I'm talking about?
The poem.
Yeah. Anyway, never mind.
Oh,
I was gonna give by Grand Central Station. I sat down and wept.
Oh, okay.
So by Old Market Square, you sat down and wept. How long have you had panic attacks for?
Well, see the show because it's I've stopped calling them panic attacks because I have a problem with dissociation when I'm anxious. So I don't get a racing heart or any of these other symptoms of panic attack. I just really start to shut down and then kind of go into ghost mode for a long, painful time in order to kind of pull myself out. I've been doing that all my life. So it was only through this, after the death of my mom and going to counseling, that I even learned the word dissociation, all these things like social anxiety, dissociation, incredibly new concepts to me that are it's fascinating to realize you've been struggling with something.
So when you think about that now, like have you gone back in your life and thought about things that happened to you before and when you're a kid and you're like, oh, that's why I did that, or oh yeah, I remember when that happened. Have you kind of gone back and you kind of do an inventory.
Do an inventory of all the, like one of the lines from my play is in a therapy, and counselor asked me how long I've been dissociating for. She's saying like your mother died and you started having these dissociative episodes, but you've never dissociated before. And I say, oh no, I think I've been doing it all my life. It's just never interfered with anything. And then she says, how can you be dissociating all your life and then have it not interfere with things? And that was a real, when she said that in counseling, that like rocketed me because my brain was wired. It's like, no, it's like, I'm sure I'm dissociating, but it's fully integrated into my personality. People just know me as like spacey and absent-minded, and people often like have accused me of being a ghost at times, or I'm walking through a mall and people are waving at me and I don't see them. Like all those things become normalized. I just think it's part of my personality. I don't think it's part of a thing, right? And so,
I've been reading a lot about, and when I say reading, of course, I mean listening to podcasts about ADHD, which is autism and ADHD, kind of smashed together. But when they smash them together, it's its own thing. It's Reese's peanut butter cup, right? It's not peanut butter and chocolate anymore. It's its own thing. And it's very, very interesting because I know that I'm very ADHD. Like I'm just all the classic, late all the time, losing stuff like constantly, just all that stuff, very classic. But then that kind of the autistic part has been interesting to me because they don't say. I was watching an interview with David Byrne and he was talking about being on the spectrum, but it was a few years ago and they used the term high functioning, which is not really a term they use anymore. They say high masking. So if you've got this high masking autism, you do all the things you can, like you're smart, and sometimes they call it twice exceptional. So you might be really good at something. So you spend all your time like covering those things up because you need to do that in order to get through your fucking day, right? And so I've been thinking about this a lot. Like I got through about grade 11 without really cracking a book, because I was smart enough that I could listen in class and I could kind of, skim the material. And I could, you know what I mean? I could I could squeeze an 80 or 70 if something was kind of a bit too much, up until I think grade 12 physics or chem or something. And then that was one of those things you actually have to do.
Bridge too far.
I couldn't just sort of bluff my way through it. And I had sort of always thought that I was, lazy or whatever. But actually, it's just that, like, my brain wasn't working the same way that everybody else's, or not everybody else's, but the same way that they were teaching for that brain, whatever that brain is.
Yeah.
And I was, and I was just kind of trying to get by, because I couldn't do the things the way that they needed me to do them. Of course, like, one of the things about ADHD is lots of big feelings, lots of emotional outbursts and all that kind of stuff. I was diagnosed with 10 years ago or something with bipolar, and that was fine, but it wasn't quite, the medication never really worked, and that wasn't quite it. You know what I mean? I didn't have those classic kind of big ups and big downs. But you're when you say, like, that's just kind of part of my personality, that, like, question of, like, which stuff is part of my personality and which stuff is because autism spectrum disorder is a disorder. ADHD is a disorder. And one of these people that I've been listening to a lot about ADHD is, they like to call it a neurotype, which is kind of interesting. Like, this is not, this is something that I need to, actually, they also embrace the idea of disability. So it's kind of like, this is a neurotype, but also I need help. I do need help with all these things, because this is how my brain works. Yeah. And this is what I do. And left to my own devices, this is exactly what I'm going to do. And it's interesting, when I was diagnosed as bipolar, I had to wrap my mind around being mentally ill. And now I'm kind of just wrapping my brain around having a brain that just works not like it's supposed to. That being said, I don't really know if there's an actual we say neurotypical, right. Neuronormative.
Yeah.
Who are they? Yeah. Like, I was trying to think of, like, do I know any normal people? I came up with, like, 4 people, but then I wasn't sure. You know what I mean? Like, 4 people that I personally know.
And so then they might seem normal, but
they're
masking really well.
Right. Yeah. Who knows?
I'm also really fascinated with
one of those, a marathon runner, and they must be all fucked up for sure. Why would you want to do that?
Yeah. I'm fascinated with the way that your disability or your whatever, like, these labels, to me, they're very, they can be very loaded, in terms of how you use them on yourself. Because, like, to me, I think one of the best things I learned is understanding that a lot of these things that I thought were failings that I had, and then I would generate a lot of shame around having them, or I think I wasn't, like, a man enough. I wasn't manning up to certain things, or I was failing this. And so you're just using it to kind of propel this, like, shamey narrative about yourself. And then you kind of get through it. And then you think, oh, well, if it's got this other name, and that helps me get away from some of the shame and ask for help. But then it's like, it helps me realize that I don't want to be rid of these things I struggle with, because they're also really woven in with they're woven so tightly with my sense of humor that I would never not want to have lived this life of dissociating, right? Because it's made the world incredibly funny to me too. And so it's like, I don't like, so it's funny how, to have these things and give them names is powerful, but I also like that they're part of me, and don't try not to compartmentalize them too much.
I think a lot about, particularly when you're doing art, about these sort of things. My show has a big sub-theme of childhood trauma, and I
fun stuff.
But there's a bait and switch where I talk about body image, and that's the reason why I'm having anxiety attacks, and we learned that it's not that. But
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. But what you're saying that really speaks to me is something I've been thinking about a lot. That is a theme that's come out of this show for me, and also the process of developing it. And it's about the idea of the difference between foundational and definitional experiences. The idea that we can have our lives and things about our lives that are not great, but and to deny them is wrong because they made them. Yeah. Those things made us who we are, and we can be without them.
Yeah.
But to define ourselves by them is also wrong.
Yeah.
We are more than those experiences, even though those experiences made us who we are.
Yeah.
And I think hopefully when you've seen my show, that's among it's actually probably the most important theme that I want people to come away with is this idea that we are more than the sum of the worst things that have ever happened to us. We are also the sum of everybody who's ever loved us and everybody who's ever shown us a better way of being a person. And I'm really passionate about that. And when I have an experience where I see an audience member after a show, and some people just have a laugh or some people have a cry, and that's nice. But when people can really identify with that experience, that for me is why I travel halfway across the country and do all this sort of stuff. That's what really matters to me.
This project that we're doing here, we're here in the Valiant Theater, and we're turning this into a performance space. As I've been working on this in the last couple of years, something I came up with a couple of years ago, which I came up with on my own, but it exists elsewhere, but it just popped into my head, was art will save us all. And that's the slogan that I use. We've got shirts. Shirts are available. Because I remember thinking I've been involved with politics, and, I see the way money works. And, I think, well, the politicians aren't going to save us. The billionaires aren't going to save us. The Winnipeg Jets aren't going to save us. What is the thing that we need? And then I just thought, well, art is the thing that is actually the only thing that is, to me, the only thing that has any hope. And to me, the only way, the only kind of way to connect people, and the only way that, because community and people were the answer. And I feel like, with art, I feel like we just have so much good that we can do and so much we can say. And who was talking about seeing the show when they were a kid?
I think it was me.
And so that, seeing something that makes you think about things and gives you ideas and thoughts and feelings that you never would have got anywhere else. And I mean, how old were you when you saw Ronnie Burkett?
17.
Because Ronnie Burkett is if I'd been 17, I saw him as an adult. If I'd been 17, I would have been like, holy shit. That's very, very strong stuff, right? And so, it is, hopefully there's lots of young 17-year-olds who are going to stop into all your shows and get some good ideas and whatever, because there's certainly enough bad ideas out there. Is there anything that you want to go see that's not you? You have to say, I'm going to go see his, and then you see his and his. You can skip that.
Yes, that.
Yeah.
I've got so many people here. Brain Machine, when I first wrote it, Devin Moore, who's doing Berlin.
Devin
Waltz,
is great. Yeah.
Devin said, I've got an hour slot. Can you bring in a show? And it was 4 weeks from then. And I made this challenge to write a show and perform it within 4 weeks. And I'm so thankful to her for that. I really want to see her show. Weirdly, it's just, there's this weird thing where there's another show called Brain at my own venue. Mine's Brain Machine. So I want to see that one just because it's the theme of connection. And there's also a show Adam.
So you're not mad at that person?
No, not at all. Well, look, I don't own words. And
you don't own all the best words.
And I think lean into it, because there's also Adam Bailey, who's a good friend of mine.
Yes.
He's also got a show. I want to lean into that connection thing. I want to connect to all the shows.
Right.
And I got so many people like Chase Tara, who's the first person to see Brain Machine. She saw it before I did with other people. She used to live 10 steps from me till death. But Henry VIII and the Wives of Henry VIII, I used to clean Henry VIII's tombstone, shared with Jane Seymour, his wife, not medicine woman.
Oh.
And so I want to see. There's too many to name.
There's too
Wow.
many connections.
It's
there.
like, this is like the Epstein thing. Like who knows?
No, it's not like the Epstein thing.
Who knows how deep? Who knows how deep it goes?
This is not like the Epstein thing at all. It's the opposite.
Probably if we say Epstein enough, probably the bots on TikTok will shoot this through the roof. Yeah.
This is the opposite of the Epstein thing. This is wholesome and loving.
Okay. I'm really sorry. I obviously hit a nerve. Keith, what would you like to go see?
I'm looking forward to seeing All Right, Solving the Problem of Living by Anisha Coleman, who's a friend of mine from Montreal and is super talented. And then Shane Why Not is doing Late in Life Lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
This is another former Montrealer who's here in Winnipeg. I also, my friend Iris, who I've now mentioned 3 times, is.
Does that mean that Iris appears?
No, Iris is. Yeah, exactly. Like Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
No, she's programmed me like. So I'm going to like 3 shows tonight. I don't even know what I'm seeing. So,
she's programmed you.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to seeing. I have a lot of love for the storytelling community. I want to see a bunch of really great storytellers tonight, and I'm looking forward to seeing them.
Yeah. What do you think about Tor being smart enough to get a director in for his one-man show?
I would recommend it highly to anyone who's thinking to getting one person show together. I actually have. She actually doesn't like the word director. Like I tried to use the word director with her, and she refused it. She insisted to be called the second set of eyes.
Oh wow!
So Julie Tomiko Manning in Montreal was my second set of eyes through preparing this show. I had a different director, but I did it on Zoom for Montreal. So my friend David Crabb from Los Angeles directed me the first time out.
I know somebody who's doing a show this year who wouldn't let anybody look at it, and I feel. I don't know. I just feel like maybe he knows what he's doing. Maybe he's Margaret Atwood. Maybe he doesn't need an editor. I don't know.
Well, more power to them, I guess.
There are some people who know, who just, I think they have the time and they learn it, right? Like, they get comfortable on stage and they.
But I just mean it's you can't. You're up there and you can't see it.
Yeah,
you don't know what it's doing. You don't know what it looks like. I don't know.
Can I just shout out one more show I forgot, which is 52 Stories, Dave Morris.
Yeah.
Okay.
He and I, like last year, we were in the Victoria Fringe with Tor, but he was like, his show is also about connections in a very different way. Yeah. But I just, there is a connection there too. And he's a wonderful human being also here from Victoria. So I just wanted to shout that show out as well.
Just took away my plug.
Sorry, did you plug? No, there's not enough. There's enough. We can all.
I know.
Who else?
Flipping through the program.
No, well, this is my
got it needed.
This is my. So I haven't even really looked at the program yet because I've been awash in some technical issues with my show and getting them solved. So I've just been on like DEFCON 5 trying to find.
Were you missing a power cord?
I was missing an adapter for a Swedish drum machine, which is like
as you do,
and it's been the situation I've been fearing ever since I've done this show is that I've got this one kind of bespoke piece of gear, and I knew it had a weird power supply that Europeans understand, but maybe not so much North Americans. So. Yeah, sure enough, somewhere between leaving Hamilton and checking all my gear and arriving.
Did you find one?
I ordered one. I found one in Ottawa.
Yeah.
And thanks to the gods of shipping.
Yeah.
Overnight shipping.
Overnight
great
shipping
expense. I have my part.
Yeah. So. Well, you'll make all that money back.
I hope so. Yeah. So I know that like. I mean, Andrea, I like what you said about this kind of relational scene. You get to know people, and then you want to see their shows. So, like last year, because I came in here such a deer in the headlights. People like Martin Dockery and Jimmy Hogg were really good. They just pulled me in as mentors. Got to know Jem Rolls a little bit. So I've been talking to Jem a bunch of times, and it's kind of just interested. I just like his mission a little bit and his kind of defense of the poetic and the just the craft and really trying to let the crafted word. It's very yours hit me that way too. Like there's such craft in the writing of it that it's just a joy to behold and so and then There's 2 shows I want to plug, but I don't have the names on top of my head.
Do you have a vague description? I might know.
Okay, so there are some friends that had a show from Ottawa. It's Glennis and Maggie, I think their names are. They're coming with kind of sketch comedy music. Glennis is quite talented as a comedian and also as a musician, so I'm excited to see what they're doing. Then there's Rebecca, and I don't have her last name, but she's from San Francisco. She's coming up with a story. We hit it off the first night we were here because we were staying in the same place, and she's got a show in venue 3 about it's a kind of reconciling with the death of her mother. So it's kind of a similar theme that's in my show. So we sort of bonded on that. So I'm quite excited to see her.
That sounds like Natasha's show. Who's doing that?
Yes,
Natasha.
There's a Natasha. What do I say? Who did I say?
You said Rebecca. Natasha Ruck.
I'm so bad with names.
Natasha. Don't beat yourself up.
You interviewed Natasha.
Yeah.
And now I'm on record forgetting her name.
You know what? You know what? We can't live in the worst. We can't live in the worst moment of our life. Right?
No,
we have to.
I know.
And not everybody's name can be Tor. Tor is the perfect name.
It's the worst. It's the worst. People remember my name. People remember my name, and I forget all of it. And it's.
I work as a substitute teacher, and even when they're in front of me, I get them wrong. So I think I absolve you of all.
It's good. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just, if I can break the fourth wall here. There's not really a fourth wall, but I just want to encourage everybody out there to go see somebody that you haven't seen before. See somebody who's from out of town, who's new or who hasn't been here in a long time or doesn't come here very much. Because all the people I love Chase and I love Martin, but people flock to that stuff because they're such stalwarts, and people fill up their dance cards, and it's very difficult for people from somewhere else, Montreal or buttfuck Ontario or wherever. But you know what I mean? It's hard when you're coming in and people don't really, you haven't built that kind of audience, and people kind of, people coming from the States, like Natasha was like, what do I do? What do I do? Yeah. So people kind of, it's just tough, right? I mean, you had a good time last year because somebody came and pulled you off your planter and helped out. But I just think it's how many shows are there? 180 or something? Or
it's
a lot. A lot.
Yeah.
So I think it's hard. This is not Edinburgh where there's 6,000 shows, but it still is a thing where
you can get lost, and it's definitely it's helpful when people take a risk for sure, especially when you're a newcomer. I think that's it.
New Wave Your Behavior tour, Lukasik-Foss. And that is opening on the 17th at 6:15. That is over at venue 4, CCFM. Keith Serry is doing
The List, the Traumedy about probiotic masculinity at venue 5, premiering on Thursday night at 9:30.
Nice.
And Andrew Bailey, not to be confused with Adam Bailey, but if you like Adam
Bailey,
to be
confused with Brain.
But if you like Adam Bailey, you'll love Andrew Bailey. Brain Machine is opening July 18th, 7:30 at the Rachel Brown Theater, just upstairs from Samoza's India Palace. Well, that is it. Thanks so much for stopping by. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was
Thank you
fun.
so much.
Thank you so much for listening. We will talk to you again. Art will save us all.